Naimos iwas pa rin. Lubos. Mga lubos. Mic testing.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to check that my voice is audible and screen are visible to you. Good evening, everyone. I just want to check that my voice is audible and screen are visible to you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, today we are going to learn the next part, that's CSS styling. So, before write anything, I just remove the yesterday's content. Okay, that's removed. Okay, current I have only structure. So currently I have only structure. Okay. So the CSS, it stands for Cascade Style Sheet. It is used to style and layout web pages. For example, to alter the font, color, size, and spacing of your content. Split into multiple columns. Add animations and other decorative features that make your website more attractive. For that purpose, we are use CSS. And here we are going to learn the CSS fundamentals. Okay. So the first thing, how we can write a CSS. and how it is included within our website. Look here, there are number of ways that CSS will be included within your website. That first way is what? Suppose if you write a separate file, that's a separate your file name .css, and that file you want to include within your website, then you need to use one tag within head tag. That tag name is a link. That link relation is a style sheet, and it's a have a it's a hyperlink attribute, and that hyperlink attribute holding value, that value is absolute path of your CSS file. The second way, that's internal CSS. That means within head, we can write a style tag. Within head, we can write style tag, and that style are holding, that style tag holding our CSS, which can apply on our page. That's the second way. What's the third way? It is also possible that you can make inline CSS. What it's called? Inline CSS, like a style, background color, it's aqua. It's called inline CSS. So that means for a particular tag, we can apply the CSS. That CSS called inline CSS. So that's the three ways to write a CSS, to integrate a CSS with your web page. That's the three ways to integrate a CSS with your web page. Now, how to write a CSS? To write a CSS, we need to discuss some points. That points is it's regarding rules of that CSS. So what are the rules to write CSS? Look here. When we write a CSS, what's the basic syntax to CSS? For that reason, I just create. That means I undo first my things. Okay, and create one file within our folder where we have index.html. That file name is we are use style, right? Style, and extension is .css. Look here, I create one file. That file I need to include within my page. So it can be integrate with my web page. That's a styles. It's a style, not styles, right? So let's rename. It's a styles. Okay. Now it's a perfect according to our integration with our web page. Now let's see. I want to write CSS, but we need to discuss something regarding CSS rules. That rule is that's a fundamental regarding CSS. So when we write a CSS, we need to understand that some rules. That means that's if you want to make a attractive your paragraph, then you can write a P, and here within a P curly bracket open curly bracket close. Within here I use a padding 2 pixel. Okay, so what is that? Look here, that P indicate it's a selector. What it's indicate? Selector. And within curly bracket, whatever things we write is a properties of this selector. That property we write with the key and value. Padding is a key and 2px is a value. The semicolon is required to end these properties. The semicolon is required to end these property. So that's the most basic things of Cascade style sheet. That's the most basic things from Cascade style sheet. So here we are learn what is the selector, how we can set properties of this selector. But this selector have a types. Selector have a types. That type we are going to write here. Look here. The first selector I'm going to write. That's tag selector. It's also called element selector. So how we can write that thing? Look here. So element selector. That means suppose you want to make a paragraph. That paragraph is more attractive. Then use P. P is a element name. After that, curly bracket open, curly bracket close, and that P holding a properties. The first property is color, and that color property value I write it's a blue. If you don't want to use a direct color name, then you can use a red, green, blue. That's our RGB formula. After that, that paragraph holding some text, and that text I want to set a font size that's 16 pixel. It is also possible that you can combine multiple selectors. For example, suppose that same thing I want to apply for LI also. Then you can write these things. Same thing I want to apply for H1 also. So you can write that things. So that means what? It is a possible we can combine multiple selectors. So here we are understand that how we can use the element selector. The element selector. So by making our heading red, we have write that selector H1. That's a color is a blue, not red. We do this by targeting an element selector. And this is a selector that directly matches an HTML element name to target all paragraphs in a document. We use a P selector P, and that's a turn on paragraphs in blue color. After that, next one is a class selector. How we can write a class selector? When before a selector name, you write a dot, then it's called the class selector. Then it's called class selector. After a dot, you required to write class name. That's red text. That's the class name. After that, curly bracket open and curly bracket close. Within that curly bracket, we are write properties of this selector. That's a color property. Value is a red. The font weight, it's a bold. When we are write that property, we have one another symbol that's a colon. So colon are separate property and its values. And semicolon required to end this property. Semicolon required to end this property. After that, after class selector, we have one another selector that's called ID selector. So how we can write ID selector? Look here. When we are write hash symbol, with hash symbol, we are write that ID name. It's a main header. It's holding a properties and its values. It's holding properties and its values. So that's called ID selector. After that, we have one another selector. It's we call it global selector. That means when we are use a star. So it's a global selector. But it's called global selector or universal selector. Okay.
Papa.
Universal selector.
Ma.
So that's a universal selector. Okay. Let's summarize. We are discussing regarding select CSS. So what is that CSS? CSS stand for Cascade Style Sheet. And to make your website attractive, we are use a CSS. To write a CSS, there are a number of ways are available. That means you can write a CSS with a separate file. That file extension is a .css. You can write a CSS within HTML header section using style tag. You can write a CSS with any HTML tag using inline CSS using style attribute. So there are a number of ways to write a CSS. There are a number of ways to integrate CSS with your web page. But when you write a CSS, you need to understand some basic point. That means what means a selector. When we write any CSS, we require a given name for that selector. Basically, the selector we write in a syntax. That means a selector, curly bracket open, curly bracket close, within that selector property, and it's a value, semicolon, property, and it's a value. So that's the syntax to write a selector. That selector have a number of types. The first type is element selector. That element selector we are used directly with HTML tag. Directly with the HTML tag. And it is also possible that we can combine multiple selector. So here I just combine multiple tags. So for that tags, I use some specific color property and font size property. After that, we have class selector. That's the next type. So how we can write a class selector? So to write a class selector, we are use a dot. And after dot, that's a class name. After that, whatever things we are write, it's a class name. So when we are use that class name within our HTML, that's attribute are apply there. That's attribute are apply there. So to select a subset of elements without changing the others, you can use class selector. After that, we have ID selector. That means how we can write that ID selector. We are write hash symbol. We are write hash symbol. And after hash symbol, we are write the ID name. After that, curly bracket open, curly bracket close. Within that curly bracket, we are write properties and their values. That's ID selector. ID selector also you can use for specific purpose, for specific tags. After that, there are universal selector that indicate a star. So when you are using universal selector, it's applicable to overall of your page. So it's applicable to all your page when you are use universal select. So here we want to make something different, huh? So hope you understand that how we can write a select CSS. Now let's discuss some more to create some more attractive web page. Okay. Okay. So for that reason, I just remove that's all thing. Instead remove, I can make a comment. Okay, I just remove. Now using that selectors, I need to create some beautiful website. Okay. So for that reason, I use universal selector. That's a universal selector. That means it's applicable to overall page. And within that things, we are set margin. Margin. That margin is margin 2px to 5px. 5px is margin. The padding. I want to set a padding not only 0. I want to set padding top. It start from top. It's a 5px. After that, padding bottom, padding left. It's a clockwise. Top, right, 5px. Padding bottom, 5px. And padding left, that's a 5px. Okay, so that things I said there. After that, I want to set a border sizing. That's border sizing is a okay. We can use a border box. If to show border, we can set a border. That's a border is a 2px and it's a solid. And the color, that color hex code I write there. That's the hex code of our board. So let's see how our website are display using that universal content. Look here. So that's our universal content, right? Okay. And it's not looking good. Okay. So okay, it's not looking good, that universal content. So I can make a short. That padding is a margin is a 5. We can instead the all padding, we can use a padding only. It's instead 5, we can use a 0px. The margin, the border is not required. It's not looking good. Okay, so let's refresh. Okay, okay, that things we are use margin 0px. Okay, after that, within our page, we are use some specific font. For that reason, we can use a font family, and that font family, there are number of font family. So we can select one font. Okay, that font I'm selected here. It's a font family. Okay, after that, let's check. Okay, it's affected. Okay, after that, that's commonly applied to our web page. Now, I want to make my body a specific, and for that reason, I use element selector. So that's the body, and it's a background. That background color, I can use that things, and uh, the color. So that's the background. That's body font color. It's affected there. But instead use that things for body. I can make some more attractive, right? That's using how I can make a more attractive body. I need to make more attractive. So for that reason, uh, it's good to use colors. That colors are use gradients. So for that reason, I use a gradient color. So instead write these things, I can write background image property, and within we can use a linear color, linear gradient. That linear gradient holding a color palette. That's from to right. That's to right. And the color, I don't want to use that color. I can make something different. So normally I'm use that color FF8 A00. Okay. Uh, it's a start and end color. I need to use E52, E52, E71. That's the end color. So I apply that color for my body. So it's looking more beautiful when you are use gradient. And gradient have some types. That means there are linear gradient, radial gradient, and conic gradient. But linear gradient is more beautiful than other two. We just make it more good. So instead it's to right. I make it default. Okay, so that's looking good, huh? Right? So that's looking good, right? So we are use linear gradient. Okay. Now, after use that linear gradient for my website, I want to make a navigation bar, and that navigation bar holding the menus, right? And for that reason, I write next thing. That's nav bar. Nav bar. That's the element, and that's element selector holding some property. That's a background color. So we are use a gradient. So don't use that background color. So instead that we can use next gradient, the background image, and that's a radial gradient. Instead a circle. Okay, we can go with that, but color we can change. Now I don't want to use that color. Okay, let's make it multicolor. Second color. Okay. So that things we are used for our navigation. Hmm? Navigation bar. So after that, the color is white. It's looking good for text. Okay. The padding here I'm use 10 px is too much, right? So 1 px padding is there. After that, display can use display property flex we can use. Okay. Text align center, either text align center, we can say that's aligns item center. That means we are not write a simple text, we are write menus there, right? So instead text align center aligns items center. Okay. After that, we required to justify content. Justify content. Uh, it's a space between, and the position we require sticky. That means we don't want to change that position. So it's sticky. Okay. After that, uh, from its top, it's 0, and Z index, it's 1,000. Okay. So that property we are set for our navigation bar. After that, with navigation bar, we have a logo, right? So for that reason, the nav dot logo I use there with that specific property. 24 px, it's too much, so I can use 5 px. Okay. After that, we have navigation. Within a navigation, we have unordered list. So navigation unordered list UL that we can use for Menu purpose, so it's display flex. Okay. List style none. Why it's none? Okay, we can use the images within that. Okay, no, not images. Okay, none, because it's menu, and gap is 1 px. Okay, that's for unordered list. After that, within unordered list, we have items and anchor tag, right? And for that reason, okay, we can use our first navigation UL. Li, and one more tag we require to use anchor. Okay, for that reason, we are saying that's padding is not required, because we are set it's within a universal color white. Okay, white. After that, we can set text decoration. Text decoration, we can set none. After that, the font weight. We can set it's 500. After that, transition. We can set it's 0.3 second. Okay, that's the property we are set for navigation UL LINA anchor tag. After that, we require to hover effect. So that's what it's a hover effect. That's change color. So what's color we need to change? We can use a different colors. So it's clearly visible. Okay. So that's our navigation. So let's apply that navigation within our HTML first. So here within a body, I want to set navigation bar. That's using nav tag, right? Okay. So within that nav tag, we have the UL. And it's holding some menus. Okay. Let's check that things apply on website. Okay, that's apply. But we required logo also. So logo we required. And it's a class from navigation. So let's write one division. Within navigation before UL tag, we write with one division. It's a class logo. And it's close division. Okay. Here we can add one image also. So it's more attractive than. Okay, but we can alter it later. After navigation, most of time we have header section. Okay. So within header section, I write something that's H2 and P tag. So it's H2 and P tag within header, right? So it's looking right now like that, but I want to make it some more attractive. So that's why after navigation, I need to write CSS for my header. So that's header. So how we can use header? So header. Okay. So header we can make. Okay. It's a text align center. Padding is a 20 px is a too much. 2 px. The color here for header we can use one more gradient. So we can use a gradient. It's color white, but background things we can manage by gradient. So background image, it's linear gradient, and that linear to right. I need to set some different color set. So instead that can use hash 3b 82 f6, and here I can use 9 333 e. Okay, that's good. Things are different. Okay, and that color text color is white. Okay. After that, within our header we have h1 h2 tag we have, right? So for that reason I'm use header, that's h2 tag, that's for h2 tag. And let's refresh. It's for h2 tag. After that 20 px is too much. 5 px, okay. And the margin bottom we need to set margin from bottom. It's 0.5 px. Okay, so that things we are set here for our website, and it's not looking good. Okay, next. Within our header, we have one another tag, that's a paragraph tag, right? So for that reason, I'm using header, the paragraph, and that's for paragraph. So it's a change. Sorry. Okay. After that, uh, we need to write main content, right? And for that write main content, I switch to my page HTML file. Here I need to write main content. So for that reason, I can use one tag, that's tag name is a section tag. It's about. Clothes section. Okay. So it's about, and we need to us we need to set that make that about section attractive. For that reason, I can write one CSS. Okay. but it's okay, with the ID we can write that CSS. So we are not use ID, right? Has it's about. Okay, and after that we are use a class, we are use a element, we are use a ID, and we are use universal, right? Let's check whatever thing. Okay, we are use ID. So that CSS ID I write here with the ID attribute, that's about. And whatever CSS we are properties we are write within about selector, that's apply here for section. That section it's apply. Okay, that's it. So I hope you understand that things how I write that style sheet to create my website more attractive. But footer are not set. So for footer, I can make some different style sheet. Uh, I want to set footer, right? So it's for footer. It's for footer. I write one class here. And that footer I want to use within my HTML. So here I write it's a class, right? It's a class. That class name is a footer. That class name is footer. Okay, that's footer. So padding. So that footer, it's looking like okay, but I want to make it better. That's things that means I want to set it at bottom, and for that reason, that's a footer. I set background just a little. Okay. So students, we need to set that footer at bottom, right? And for that reason, uh, the background color, the padding, the position relative, I just want to remove bottom 0. The width also not required. The padding 0. It's a border box and font family. Okay, that's footer is a separate things, right? So we can make a body is a full height instead that use a division and write a separate code for division. So style in a body, let's say HTML body. Okay, let's check. So we need to make some more changes to set that things on body bottom. So we are setting our footer at bottom. Let's check. Not happen. So one with default browser. Okay, it's not set on bottom. So to set that bottom, we need to write some more CSS. So let's set it's a bottom. Stop. I'm just checking. It's from debugger tool. It's a typo mistake. Cross check. Okay, we can add one more class for our footer. Let's check how I can add that. It's one. Okay, I set flex one and check that things. Instead section, I use main for a main content. Only that things are different there. Okay, I just check on my editor. That's a browser editor. So I will share that things also with you. Okay, look here. What I do, I open my site on my browser, and there I just need I just check that footer is working or not. I just paste that my code within here, and you can check it's working. That my footer are set on my end of my web page. It's not depend on content from main. It's not depend on content from main. So that CSS I apply there. not have that much change, just I use main. So the tool from browser, that developer tool, it's more useful to check, to test your web page on live reload. Okay, so I'm going to share that content with you on a chat box. And after that, we can discuss question answers. That's the CSS, and the HTML file I'm going to share with you. That's the HTML. Okay, so students, if you have any question regarding CSS, please ask me. That @ symbol, it's a Unicode symbol. You need to use some special characters, and after that, control plus space. Check your code, and if you have any question, please ask me. So that's the today's question. I'm going to show you margin and padding. Look here. What's the margin? Suppose I show you that's code editor. Within that code editor, after that line, there are one line. It's a showing margin. It's showing margin. That's a gap. That's a gap of your main page. If you want to check on browser, then it's available here. I just want to make maximize. So it's recover. Look here. Using that example, you can clearly check what's the margin and what's the padding. Okay, look here. The margin we are set at outer side, and the padding we are set for the text. That means what? That means what? Uh, Margin is a space outside of all elements. That's purely with the HTML. And the padding is a space inside the element between the content and border. That's the padding. The margin we are used to creating space between elements, and the padding we are used to space between, not space between, space inside an element. We are use a padding. So that's the difference between margin and padding. Is it clear? What's the next question? Next question. Border sizing, border box, where we are used that things. Okay, that's we are used for universal selector. Okay, so the box sizing, that means when we are use a box sizing, it's a tell to browser how to calculate the total size. That means the width and height of element. By default, it's a content box. So uh, when we are use a box sizing, that's a border box, that it's a calculate content plus padding plus border for width and height. And here we are use a border box, that's width includes content plus padding plus border. Width include content plus padding plus border. That means suppose we are use width width not 100, width 100 px. After that we are use padding 100 px. After that we are set a border, that border is 5 px. Then the total width is exactly 200 px, 100 px, which we are use here. So content shrinks to fit within 200 px with the padding and border included. That means border box. That means border box. Is any other question? Hope you understand what's the border box and border size. So why we are use that border box? Uh, it's a easier layout control. To prevent overflowing containers, we are use a border box. And it's applied to every element. So that width are include content plus padding plus border. That's the border box. Okay, so next question regarding flex. Okay, so the display. The display is a CSS layout mode that makes it easy to arrange elements horizontally or vertically. When you set display value is a flex, so flex on a container. So it parent become a flex container, and it's directly child elements become a flex items. So that's regarding layout. So why we are use a flex box? That's to align the item left, right, center, to stack items vertically or horizontally. Uh, Eventually space between elements, and to create a responsive layout, we are use that things flex. So display flex turns container into flex box. And flex is a type of layout. There are grid layout, there are flex layout. For modern HTML programming, we are use a flex layout. Is any other question? Yes. Is any other question? Okay, that's for animation. Okay, transition is okay. The transition is a CSS property basically, and that we are used for animation, animate changes in a style smoothly over time. So when changes style like a color and size, changes happens instantly. But when you hover, the background jumps to any color immediately. Then we are use transition. For example, that's for example. Okay, so here, if I'm use a transition, that transition for transition for background color, and it's a set it's set 3 seconds. It's, 5. Hmm. Then it's affected. We need to change hover. So let's see where we are use hover effect. So here we can use that things UL LI. So it's a change color. Okay. So that transition are useful to that color fades smoothly from our default white to red in 0.5 second when you are hover. So that's use per hour. That's useful to make a smooth changes and make something different with the transition. Suppose uh, that color is in out, is in out 0.3 second. That's 1 second. And look here. It's taking time. So hope you understand how we can use a transition. So it's a smooth color change. We are use a transition for a button hover effects, expanding menus, animating size, position, opacity. For that purpose, we are use transition. Other is next question. When we are use a hash within our CSS, then its selector name is ID selector. That ID selector we can set with one HTML attribute. That attribute name is ID. And when we have dot selector, that means it's a class. That class selector we can set within our HTML with the one attribute. That's a tag attribute. That's a tag attribute name a class. So that's the difference in between hash and dot. Look, class selector we can use for if you want a bulk modification, then we are use a class. If you want to make some specific modification, that means for specific tag, then we are use the ID. That means hash. Other question? Look, it's a change only radius, border radius. So we are use that about border radius. That's affected on border radius. Next question. Okay, it's a Z index, right? So why we are write that Z index? Z index control stacking order of elements on a web page. That means which elements appear in a front or behind others. So it's only works on elements that have a position set, relative, absolute, fixed, or sticky. So that's why we are use Z index, and here we are use Z index value 1 to 1000. So what means 1? It's move the element one level above. If you are set auto, then it's a default value that's follow order in HTML. If you want to make number increase, that means it's a move the element that number level of above, and it's work only with relative, absolute, and fixed and sticky position. Next question. The session, it's a tag name, and that tags are useful to make a dividation of our content. After that, we are not going to use animation property right now. Okay, animations. Okay, the position. Within a CSS, we can use a position property. That's for layout and controlling where elements appear on the page. So what is that proposition? It's a define how an element is a place in a document and how it behaves with the top, left, right, and bottom. So it's have some values, that's position types, like static type is there. It's a default, it's a default type, and that means no positioning. Relative position is there. It's a position relative to its original place. Absolute position is there. It's a position relative the nearest position. After that, fixed position is there. It's a position relative the viewport, that means the screen. The sticky position there, that means it's a behave like a relative until scroll, and then stick like fixed. So that's a position and it's a types. Okay, favicon icon we are not use. Wait, we will use it. We will use it with some animations. Wait. Okay, gradient CSS. With the gradient CSS, I want to discuss some more thing. Look here, the CSS have some units, like a pixel is there. That means 1 pixel on a screen. Commonly that pixel we are use, but it's have a number of units to measure. That's a cm is there, it's a centimeter, mm, millimeters, in, inches, pt, points, pc, pics. There are relative units, that's em, relative to parent font size, rem, relative to root font size, that means html. The percent is relative to parent element. After that, we have some other units, VW and VH. The viewport width, viewport height. When we are develop any modern website, nowadays we are use instead px and percent em and rem. We instead that we are use VW. It's indicate viewport width. VH it's indicate viewport height. So that's units regarding the calculation of the sizes. After that, mm, what's the next question? Gradients. Okay. Okay. So we are using gradients for here. Okay. So the gradient, that means to change one color to another color. So gradient is a smooth blend between two or more colors that we can use for a background, just like image and solid colors. But gradients are provided some types, that means there are linear, radial, and conic gradient. Within linear, colors blend in a straight line. Within a radial gradient, colors are spread out from a central point. Within a conic, its color sweep around circle like pi. So that's a gradient. So gradient we are used for more attractive backgrounds. And for that reason, we are use gradient. Okay, so the next question. So next question. Okay, there are three persons are asking regarding animation. Okay, so look here. I simply set one animation for you. So where we can set. Okay, for HTML body we can set, huh? So here, if you want to set animation, then you can use animation property. That animation property have some values. That values like fade in, uh, easy in, easy out. So I can use that things fade animation. Fade in. Fade in, and that's the time 2 second. 2 second. Okay. Easy in out. Easy in out. Now let's try to make some animation. So using that animation property, we can load animation within our tags or any selector. So that property we require animation. So let's write animation. I can write at the rate keyframes. That for fade in from opacity zero, and I want to transform. Uh, that's for y-axis. Y-axis. It's 50 x. Okay, it's for fade in, and to opacity, it's transform for y-axis. It's 0. Only that style I apply here for my animation. So that box fade in and move up when the page loads. So let's check where we have our page. That's our page. Look here. So that our page fades in and move up when the page loads. So animation have a different properties like animation name is there. That means name of keyframes. Animation duration is there. How long the animation takes. Animation delay is there. Wait before starting. Animation iteration count is there. How many times to run. After that, animation direction is there. That's a normal, reverse, and alternate. Animation fill mode is there. That's forward. and stay in final state. That's a simple example for animation. So you can make a circle, bouncing ball, anything in that way. Next question. Okay. So the transform property we can use to apply 2D, 3D transformation to elements like rotating, scaling, moving. So transform property allows you to visually change, that means transform an element shape, size, and position without affecting layout around it. That's why we are use transform. Any other question? Is any other question? Is any other question? To glow buttons in CSS, you can use a transform, that means change that positions for colors. It's apply for 2D and 3D transformations. Okay. So you want one example. Okay, which things we can write here? Uh, H2 we are right, huh? So I can make that H2 glowing. So how we can do that things? For H2, I want to make the things are different, huh? So where we are use H2, H2, H2. We are not use within header section. Okay. So within header section, we are use H2. So okay. We require to glow that H2, right? So I can use one class, glow class. Mm, the color. I use uh, I use color white. I use color white. After that, text align center. After that, font size three three. After that, the background. The background is black. After that, the padding. After that, text shadow. Text shadow. Text shadow from. Okay, that's a shadow for our text. It start from top. Start from top. It's a clockwise. Animation is not required there. Let's check. So that glow I can use as a class within my H2. Look, that's the glow effect. That's a glow effect for my H2 tag. And it can be applied to any element from HTML. That's a button or whatever things you want to glow. That just you need to add that class there. So that button will be glow. Is any other question? Is any other question? So hope you understand how to glow buttons. I just apply that style sheet on my H2 tag instead button. Is any other question? Okay, please wait there. Okay, so that's the fundamental things from CSS we are learned today. And tomorrow we are going to start new topics, that's a JS. And to complete JS, we require more time. That means we can learn JS from scratch. And we are going to learn everything from JS because that JS are useful to create attractive websites. For space inside element, you can use a padding. Padding property you can use for create a space. From tomorrow, we are going to start JS. So that's the fundamental things we are cover from CSS and HTML. Using that things, we are able to write any kind of website. And now we are going to move on JS. So tomorrow we are going to start that things JS. And we are learn JS from scratch. And we are going to learn everything from JS. Because maximum time when we are write the web page using framework, we are use either JS or either TS. And we are going to use Angular. So we are going to write HTML using a TS, not JS. But of course, ultimate output we required on JS. So that's why we need to understand a JS. So students, I'm going to share that updated code with you. That's things we are alter here. Okay. So see you tomorrow. I hope there are not have any question regarding HTML and CSS. Still, if you have any question, please ask me. I'm available here. If you're not having any question, then we are going to end this class session here. Okay, so thank you very much for attending today's class. See you tomorrow. And tomorrow we are going to learn the new things that's JavaScript. So I take attendance. So I'm going to end this session here.